wanna know is
What's up guys, ZeeZ here. Today we want to introduce you into our latest project, MP Bounce Builder. The tool is made to speed up the process of building jumps for CJ maps. Now this topic is really easy to understand when you're a mapper. So if you aren't interested in the history of this project, click on the according annotations to skip to your desired parts of the video. If you don't know much about this though, please follow my explanations, because it is really important to understand the concepts of this map. So let me quickly explain it to all of you who have not touched COD4's mapping program Radiant. To build jumps you need exactly three things: a start point, a bounce, which can be modified with blocking walls or other things, and a land point, preferably in the form of a simple square platform. So now we're getting to the biggest problem in mapping: the ability to imagine the correct size of the room and your objects which you want to use in your jump. The first attempt of you placing the objects will most likely go like this. You try to imagine how far you can strafe and place the bounce accordingly. Now you do the very same thing for the end plat and place it based on your personal imagination of how big the room actually is. Once you've done that, you can go on and compile the map, which is done in 3 steps. If you have set up Radiant earlier, we are gonna assume that here to save some time. When the process is finished, which is really fast if the map is new, but really long if the map is full of stuff but yet unfinished, you can actually go in-game and try your personal creation. I can guarantee you though that in 9 of 10 cases your jump is either too easy or impossible. So what are you gonna do next? You are gonna go through the same process over and over again to modify the positions of either bounce or land plat in terms of height and distance, until you think the bounce is perfect for your desired difficulty. You probably can imagine by now how much work one single jump actually is. And now imagine you want a hard way with 80 jumps, and additionally you are unfortunately too bad to test them yourself. You need to upload it to a server and get the tester, which costs time. You see, it's quite the nightmare, so I'm not going into more detail about this. What I have said is mostly the reason why CJ maps take so long to create. But now we have come up with a new tool which will reduce these times by up to 90%. If you haven't mapped before, maybe you will think twice about it now, because I can guarantee you that you can build high quality maps in some weeks. To give you an example, I could map a second version of Galaxy in 2 or 3 weeks. Now the first version was also my first map ever, so I had to learn how to properly use Radiant, and at that time I wasn't really good in CJ either, so I had to get testers all the time. But it took a whole of 9 months or even more to create. At least 7 months were about building jumps and nothing else. You see the drastic reduction of time spent here pretty good. So let's go on and talk about Bounce Builder itself. It is a map on which you will be able to control objects such as pre-made plats, bounces, pretty much of all kinds, and slides. You will be able to build your own jumps with these objects live in-game. And you have the opportunity to pause the process, save the project, and load it at some other day. Up to 8 people can work on the map at the same time, since every person gets his own color, so it's clear which objects belong to which player. You have the ability to set the map on a server with ISOP server files, so your jumps can actually get tested, live by people, chosen by you. Also, you can share your work with other users of Bounce Builder, and they can modify your creations and send the new jumps back to you. Now you can go on and try them and modify them if desired and share them again. You see, there's really no limit of things people could do with this. If you're good enough to test the jumps yourself, you can alternatively start it in a local server and start to build on your own. It's not supposed to be used on a public server though, since it's only a tool to support CJ mappers and reduce their mapping time. It's not a playable map in the normal meaning. At the end, the coordinates of every object will be saved to your CFG, which you can then simply import to Radiant. Viruz will cover the process of importing jumps in detail later on. In the following section, Viruz will show you how to set up the map on your computer.
Hey guys, so to set up the map, at first download it from the description of this video and extract the package on your desktop. The package contains the MP Bounce Builder map, the map source of MP Transfer, which is needed for importing, a legend of the bounces, and a list of the binds which are used in Bounce Builder. You need to copy the content of the Bounce Builder folder, go into your Call of Duty Mod Tools folder and paste it in there. Now start your Call of Duty and create a new profile. In our case, I will name it Mapping. After that, you can close your Call of Duty again. You can override the config mp.cfg with the one from your own Codjumper profile, so you don't need to bind your FPS switches and stuff again. But make sure that the config mp.cfg is not write protected, otherwise you won't be able to save your project in MP Bounce Builder. Now you are ready to go in-game and start with the building. Simply start the map with any Codjumper mod you have in local. I won't do that now, instead I will connect to a private server and meet up together with ZeeZ to show you how to build jumps on MP Bounce Builder in-game.
You need the Bounce Builder binds for the following part, so after you connect to the server, press your use key until you see Bounce Bind CFG executed in the kill feed. If you press your frag grenade button, you can view all Bounce Builder binds. For building jumps you will have to place a start plat, or you will have some trouble in the importing part. So first of all we are gonna select a start plat. You can select any object you see here. To select objects you have to aim somewhere near the middle of the object and press caps lock once. If the selection was successful, you will see a rotating arrow in your color. Also you can take a look at the right side of the HUD. Every selection and settings are displayed there. We are gonna place the start plat somewhere here, so all you have to do for that is press numpad enter once. Okay, let's build a distance first. Of course we need a bounce, so let's see. This one looks good.
So we are going back to our start plat to see how far we can stray from it. If you think you found a good position for your bounce, simply activate no clip while you're still strafing. I recommend having a no clip bind for that. Now we press enter once again, so the bounce gets placed at our current position. Most of the time the placement isn't perfect after your first try, so we're gonna test if the position of the bounce needs to get modified. Of course this is different for every single tag, and this is just an example. To modify the position of the object, use the numbers of your numpad. To move the object to the north, press 8, and for moving it to the south, press 5. For moving the object sideways, you press 4 to move it to the west, and 6 to move it to the east. If you look at your UAV in the upper left corner, you see in which direction you are looking. If you want to lower the height of your object, press 7, and if you want to move it up, press 9. When you press the plus on your numpad, you can change the amount of units the object will be moved. To reset the position of your object, you press I. In our case the bounce is too far in the west, so I'm going to press the plus until I'm at 100 units and move it once to the east. Also it's too high, so I'm switching to 50 units with plus again, and then I simply press 7 to move it down once. If you did something wrong, you can simply undo your last action with pressing backspace.
Now that we are finished with placing a bounce, we need a plat to land on. So we are gonna go over to the plats and select the first one by looking at it and pressing caps lock. Then we are gonna go back and test out how far we can go. We want to build a distance jump, so let's see how far we can go with 32213. If you think you got your position, you need to activate no clip in the air again. We get somewhere here, so we press enter to place our plat here. Now we are gonna test it again and see if the position is good. So we see the jump is too easy, so we are gonna move the land platform a bit to the north and test it again. Yeah, this looks quite good, so let's continue with the next jump.
So for the next jump, you can use the land plat of the previous jump as a start plat for the next. You don't have to separate each jump. So now let's build a height jump. So we're gonna take that block bounce over there. Now we are going back through the same process. First we try how far we can strafe and activate no clip and place the bounce at our position. Then we are gonna test if we like the position of the bounce and modify it if needed. Now we want to make it an angled bounce, so we will explain you how to rotate your objects. To rotate your object, you need to choose an axis before. To do that, simply press 3 until you're at the axis you want. If you want to rotate it to the left, press 1, and if you want to rotate it to the right, press 2. You can change the amount of degrees which the object gets rotated by pressing the minus on the numpad. You can change between 1, 10, 45 and 90 degrees. To reset the angle of your object, simply press O.
We want our bounce to be at a 45 angle, so we are going to press 3 to change to the Z axis and press minus until we are at 45 degree. Then we simply press 1. Since this is a height bounce, we want to test how high we can get. Let's fly quickly to the plats and select one, and afterwards test the jump. If we think we found the max height, we activate no clip and place the previous selected platform with enter. Now we test it again and modify the height of the plat so the jump has a good difficulty. This bounce looks finished, so let's build another distance jump. We will use the land plat of the height jump as our start plat again. Let's fly over to the start again and search for another bounce.
Let's take this one. You probably know the process by now. So now you can use a little trick to select the next platform faster, instead of flying back to the spawn. By pressing the star key on your numpad, you can activate the bounce list, and by pressing the slash key, you can activate the platform list. When you press 0 or comma on your numpad, you can switch to the previous or next object on your activated list. So instead of flying back, you simply activate the platform list and change to the next platform and press enter to place it. It's useful to write down which bounces you have used in your project, because this will ease up the process of importing jumps. So now you know the controls of Bounce Builder and how to build jumps. When you want to save your process, press K. This process takes about 3 seconds, and if your project has been successfully saved, you will see a done message on your screen. You can reset the entire map to 0 by pressing P twice. Be sure to save beforehand. If you want to continue your map at some other day or want to show it to somebody else, you have the option to load your project by pressing L. So now you can leave the game. In the next part I will show you how to import your saved project into Radiant. Go into your mapping profile folder and open your config.mp.cfg with any text editor you have. You will find the saved coordinates of your project at the very bottom. Now start Radiant and open the MP transfer map source. You will see all the objects from MP Bounce Builder on it. Also open up the bouncelegend.png. I will start with importing the platforms at first. Scroll down in the CFG until you see the ZeeZ plate 1. In my case I wrote down that I used plate 1, 2, 3 and 4, but if you haven't done that, you can see that all the unused platforms are at the same coordinates, so it should be easy to see which plates you have used and which not. Now copy the numbers in the first brackets. Go into Radiant, press MISC and go to Position, then a window will pop up, simply paste the numbers into it and press OK. Now you will see that the camera moved itself onto the given coordinates. Now drag a box around the plate with Shift, Alt and left click to select the plat and its origin. It's important that you don't just click on it while holding Shift, because you also need to select the platform's origin. Now drag the platform onto the camera on every axis, so the origin will be in the center of the camera. Repeat this process with the next platform. Copy the coordinates from plate 2, go to MISC, go to Position, paste them and press OK. Now select the plate and its origin with dragging a box with Shift Alt left click, duplicate it with space and drag the plate onto the camera on every axis again. Simply repeat this process until you have done it for all your used platforms. Now that you are finished with placing the platforms, you also need to place your bounces. I've used the bounces 20, 47 and 59 in my map. I will copy the coordinates of my first used bounce, paste them into MISC, go to Position in Radiant. Open up the Bounce Legend PNG to see which number belongs to which bounce, so you know which bounce bounce 20 is. Now select and drag bounce 20 onto the camera like you already did with the platforms. If you take a look into your CFG file at bounce 20, you will see that the numbers in the second brackets aren't 0, 0, 0. This means that you have rotated the bounce in Bounce Builder. To do the same in Radiant, select bounce 20 and its origin, now go to Selection, Rotate, Arbitrary Rotation and paste the numbers in there. The first number in the brackets is the X angle, the second is the Y angle and the third the Z angle. Now press OK. Repeat this process for every bounce you have used in your project. Now you finished rebuilding the jumps in Radiant, so simply select all your jumps, open up your own map and press yes when it asks if you want to import the selection. Finally, we created some environment around the jumps, so you have an example how your map could look like.
I hope a lot of you guys try this tool out, and maybe some people will eventually release a full map built with Bounce Builder. That would feel great. If you guys have any questions regarding mapping, feel free to ask in the comments. This also helps other people if they have the same question and they can just search if it has been answered before. I want to thank the following people: Mirko for writing the entire script and spending a lot of his free time for this project. Thank you. Viruz for designing a lot of stuff, making this video and pushing us and our motivation all the time to finish this project. And finally, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Have a nice day.